There's a reason you can do everything right. Eat reasonably well, get to bed at a decent hour, even drag yourself to the gym now and then, and still feel like someone unplugged you somewhere around 2 in the afternoon. And here's the part almost nobody talks about. For most men over 50, the real cause of that bone-deep tiredness isn't your testosterone, it isn't your age, and it isn't just how it is now. It's something much smaller, much deeper, and far more fixable. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the single biggest mistake that keeps men exhausted in their 50s and 60s. And most guys do it every single morning without realizing it. Let me start with a question. When you were 35, you could push through a long day, handle a stressful afternoon, maybe stay up late and bounce back the next morning. Now the same day leaves you flattened for 2 days. People will tell you that's normal aging. I want to challenge that. Because aging explains a slow, gentle decline. It does not explain falling off a cliff at 2:30 in the afternoon. That sudden crash, the one where your brain turns to fog and your legs feel heavy and the couch starts calling your name, that's not old age. That's a signal, and the signal is coming from inside your cells. Here's where we have to get a little bit nerdy, but stay with me, because once you understand this, you'll never look at your energy the same way. Inside almost every cell in your body, you have tiny structures called mitochondria. Think of them as microscopic power plants. Their entire job is to take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and turn it into the actual fuel your body runs on, a molecule called ATP. Every heartbeat, every thought, every step, every time you stand up from a chair, that's ATP being spent. You are, quite literally, only as energetic as your mitochondria allow you to be. Now here's the thing nobody tells you. As men move past 50, two things tend to happen to these little power plants. First, you start to have fewer of them, and second, the ones you've got become less efficient. They get sluggish, they produce more waste, and they generate less clean energy per unit of fuel. So you can eat the same food you always did, but you're getting less usable energy out of it. It's like having an old engine that burns more gas but gives you fewer miles. That, more than almost anything else, is the hidden cause of low energy in men over 50. Not a lack of willpower, not a moral failing, tired power plants. And this is where it connects to everything else you've heard about. Low testosterone, your testosterone is actually produced through an energy-hungry process inside cells that are packed with mitochondria. Brain fog, your brain is one of the most energy-demanding organs you have. Weak workouts and slow recovery, that's your muscles starving for ATP. So when people chase each of these symptoms separately, a pill for this, a powder for that, they're often missing the root. Many of these problems share one common upstream cause: cellular energy production that has quietly slowed down. So what makes those power plants sluggish in the first place? This is the important part, because this is where you actually have control. The number one driver, in my experience working with men in this age group, is something deceptively boring: blood sugar instability. Let me explain what I mean and why it matters so much. When you eat a breakfast that's mostly fast carbs, the toast, the cereal, the muffin, the sweet coffee, your blood sugar spikes up fast. Your body panics a little and floods your system with insulin to bring it down. And it often overshoots, so an hour or two later, your blood sugar crashes below where it started. That crash is the 230 wall. That's the fog. That's the moment you'd trade your car for a nap. But it's worse than just one bad afternoon. When you ride that blood sugar roller coaster day after day, year after year, your cells slowly stop responding well to insulin. They get what's called insulin resistant. And insulin-resistant cells have a much harder time getting fuel inside to those mitochondria in the first place. So the power plants are not only aging, now they're being starved of the very fuel they need while you feel hungry, tired, and foggy on a loop. This is incredibly common in men over 50, and most of them have no idea it's happening because their doctor told them their blood sugar was fine, meaning not yet diabetic. But there is a huge gray zone between perfect and diabetic, where your energy quietly gets destroyed. The second driver is muscle, and I don't mean vanity muscle. After about 40, men can lose a meaningful amount of muscle each decade if they do nothing about it. Here's why that matters for energy. Muscle is where a huge share of your mitochondria live. Muscle is the engine room. When you lose muscle, you're not just getting weaker, you're literally tearing down power plants and reducing your body's total capacity to produce energy. This is why a sedentary man in his 60s can feel exhausted by a flight of stairs. It's not just that the legs are weak. It's that the cellular machinery that powers those legs has shrunk. The third driver is the one I promised you at the start, the mistake most men make every single morning. Here it is. They wake up already behind on recovery, reach straight for caffeine on an empty stomach, skip real protein, and sit down. That combination, stress hormone already high from poor sleep, caffeine spiking it higher, no protein to stabilize blood sugar, and no movement to wake up the muscles, sets the entire day up for a crash. The coffee isn't the villain. It's the empty stomach, no protein, no movement morning that quietly drains you by the afternoon. Most men think they're starting the day with a boost. They're actually borrowing energy they'll have to repay with interest a few hours later. So let's talk about the fix, because I don't ever want to leave you with just a problem. The good news, and this is genuinely good news, is that mitochondria are some of the most responsive structures in your entire body. You can actually build more of them and make the ones you have run cleaner at any age. Your body wants to do this. You just have to give it the right signals. The first signal is movement that challenges your muscles. Resistance training, lifting something heavy enough that the last few reps are genuinely hard, is one of the most powerful ways known to tell your body to build new mitochondria and hold on to muscle. You do not need a fancy gym. 2 or 3 short sessions a week, working the big muscle groups, can begin to shift this. Add in some easy, conversational pace walking, the kind where you could still talk, but you're clearly moving, and you're hitting your power plants from 2 angles at once. This combination may help your body produce more energy at the cellular level, support healthier blood sugar, and improve how you recover. And if you want faster, longer-lasting results, I've put the exact natural support I recommend in the link below this video. The second signal is how you eat, especially early in the day. Try flipping your breakfast. Instead of leading with fast carbs, lead with protein and some fat, add eggs, for example, or a protein-forward meal that actually keeps you full. When you start the day with protein instead of sugar, you flatten out that blood sugar roller coaster, and a huge number of men tell me the afternoon crash simply softens or disappears within a week or two. You're not white-knuckling through hunger. You're giving your cells a steady fuel supply instead of a spike and a collapse. Pair that with cutting back on the liquid sugar, the sweet drinks, the sugary coffees, and you've removed one of the biggest hidden drains on your energy. The third signal is sleep, and specifically the quality of it. Deep sleep is when your body does its cellular maintenance and clears out the waste your mitochondria produce during the day. When you consistently shortchange sleep, that waste builds up and your power plants run dirtier. Simple things can support this more than people expect. Getting morning sunlight in your eyes early to anchor your body clock, keeping your room genuinely dark and cool, and not pouring that 5th cup of coffee into your system in the late afternoon, because caffeine can linger far longer than you think and quietly steal the deep sleep you need. And the fourth piece is making sure the raw materials are actually there. Your mitochondria don't run on willpower, they run on specific nutrients. Things like magnesium, certain B vitamins, and other compounds your body uses in the energy production process are common to run low on as men age, partly because our food isn't as nutrient dense as it once was, and partly because absorption changes over the years. I'm not going to give you doses, and I'm not going to tell you to replace anything your own doctor has you on. But it is worth knowing that a man can be doing the movement, fixing the breakfast, and protecting his sleep, and still feel stuck if the basic building blocks his cells need to make energy simply aren't there in adequate supply. Now let me tie this all together, because I don't want you to walk away thinking you have to overhaul your entire life overnight. You don't. This is the opposite of that. Pick one thing. Just one. For most men, the highest leverage place to start is that first hour of the day. Protein before caffeine, a little movement to wake up the muscles, and sunlight in your eyes. Do that for 2 weeks and pay attention to your 230. Then add the resistance training. Then tighten up the sleep. Small, stacked, repeatable. That's how you rebuild an energy system, not with a heroic month you can't sustain, but with daily signals that compound. Your mitochondria are listening every single day, and they respond to consistency far more than intensity. Because here's what I really want you to take from this. The exhaustion you've been told to just accept as part of getting older, a lot of it isn't written in stone. It's a set of signals your body is sending, and signals can be changed. The man who feels sharp and strong and steady at 60 isn't lucky, and he isn't 25. He's just been feeding his cellular engines the right inputs while everyone else blamed their age and gave up. If this gave you a new way of looking at your own energy, I've put together the exact natural support I personally recommend to fill in those nutritional gaps and help your body do this work, and you'll find it in the link right below this video. You've still got a lot of strong years in front of you, and your body is far more capable of bouncing back than anyone has led you to believe. Start with one change tomorrow morning, be patient with yourself, and let it build. You take care of those engines, and they'll take care of you. And just so we're clear, everything I've shared today is general education to help you ask better questions and take better care of yourself. It is not medical advice, so please talk with your own doctor before making changes, especially if you have a health condition or take medication. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.